close, your mother giving service like that.
Yeah, it was awful hard on Mother, awfully hard on her. She was getting along in years, and so it was hard on her. And but she spent the summer with us and took care of those two babies.
Yeah.
Loved to take Jerry for a walk in his stroller, because he'd say hi to everybody as they met on the sidewalk. And yeah, he was very outgoing.
So then you, after your time there, you moved to San Diego. Was that right?
Yeah, after finishing up at Alameda and doing a hitch at the Naval Postgraduate School in Monterey, then my orders were to report to the Fleet Training Group in San Diego, which I did. We moved to San Diego and rented a house right by the naval base, and it was just very close to where my office was, and so it was easy to get back and forth. Yeah, so we lived in this duplex for a few months, and it was pretty right next to the naval station. What am I trying to say? The naval training station, boot camp, and there was a lot of drinking and partying going on, with new recruits, and it wasn't a good situation, so we found a duplex up the hill a ways, and we moved up there and lived there for over a year. It was a great place. And then there were several ward members that had moved up on this college campus just up the street and a little bit towards Point Loma. So we decided, let's go up there and live. So we did. And it was very reasonable, not half the rent. And we lived there for a year or so. And one stipulation, somebody had to be enrolled in that school. So Mother, having vocal training, enrolled to in their vocal program, and she was taught vocal music by a European scholar by the name of Dr. Teutsch. He was Austrian, and he would listen to her sing and audition, and he'd just say, pure velvet. She had a beautiful voice. and he could bring it out. He was a pianist, studied law in his university in Europe, and then was a musician, a fine musician, an accompanist, and he coached her, is what it was, for several months, and oh, she never sang so good as when he was coaching her. Because, you know, a pianist can make a vocalist successful. That's how Maurice Abravanel attained his great success, was an accompanist to vocal artists in Europe, Austria and Germany, and then he went into conducting, and the rest is history.
So Mother was there, and is that at the time when she got pregnant with me?
What?
When did she get pregnant with me? While you were there in Point Loma when she was?
No, she got pregnant with you well, yeah, in Point Loma. Well, we'd moved, then the San Diego Council of Churches wanted that building that we were occupying for a youth center. And so they asked us to move, and we moved just a block away. A house became available, and that was on Trento Drive.
Okay. Now, at this time, was Mom called to be Relief Society president at this time?
Was she what?
Were you in the bishopric at this time?
Yes, she was. She was called as Relief Society president, and then later I was called on the bishopric.
And this is when you were raising money to build a chapel there?
Yeah. And we had an organized building committee, but they didn't function very well, because the bishopric went out and raised all the money. And just about every Tuesday night, whenever there was a project to be undertaken on building the chapel, like for instance the roofing project, we did everything in projects and increments, and like the chapel would be fitted with button board and plastered. That was one activity that we had an all hands help on, and we'd have all the ward members that could swing a hammer to help put up the button board, and then we'd hire a contractor to do the plasterwork, and then we'd go ahead with that project, and then several of the rooms would be finished off. So it was piecemeal work all the way through. Concrete was the same way. And when we were getting ready to put the roof on, the specifications called for a shingle of a Anyway, it
Slate?
was a manufactured shingle, like all these roofs around here have. Just like this one across
Tar?
the street. Yeah,
Slate?
it was a manufactured, and that was what was the popular thing. And so our bishop was a man who knew what was going on everywhere in Southern California in the building business. And he got wind of a building project that had been going on in Los Angeles area. And the shingles for that project were slate, the best you could buy, and lifetime guarantee. And he was able to be in the right place at the right time and got wind of it and made arrangements to buy those shingles, that roofing. Got it for half price, and it was much better than what the specifications called. So he called this friend who, a friend of the work. He was they were a family that belonged to the church. He was a big contractor in San Diego by the name of Morley Golden. He was from Salt Lake City. And he had told the bishop that he wouldn't contribute cash, but he said if you ever need equipment, let me know and tell me where you want it and what you want and when you want it. And so he called Morley Golden the next day and said he needed equipment to hoist the shingles up onto the roof and relocate them up there so they could be hammered in place. And he said, tell me what time and what you need, and he was there. And he had, in the meantime, ordered those shingles, and they were delivered at that time. The equipment was there, and they put all the shingles up on the roof in little piles all around. And that was a tremendous roof. It was big. So we got our slate shingles for half of what it would have cost us to have the asphalt shingles. And then they were all put in place. That was the kind of bishop he was. He knew how to do stuff and do things. Now, they had several bishoprics before. This bishop was called to the position who tried to build that chapel, and they'd get maybe a little concrete work done, and that was all they could get done. They did get the rough building outside walls on when I was served in the bishopric, and but he built the building.